Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing my response to day 6 of the October Magic Journaling Challenge. And I believe day 6's prompt is "there once was dot dot dot." And so when I created this prompt, I was thinking, this will be just a nice journaling off point, right? There once was, and then you can continue the story from there. That was my intention with this prompt and some other similar prompts that are kind of like anything with an ellipses, right, is one that you can go ahead and continue writing the story. And so this was the page that I was in my journal. I'm trying to do this chronologically. That's generally how I journal, is I just do it chronologically in the book. I don't really jump around in my journals all too much. And so this was the backside of the page that I tipped in for my day 5, and it's just blank watercolor, right? And so I really didn't know what to do here, because then the other side of it is this beautiful Prima Marketing rice paper, and on the back, the other page after that is just book page. And so I decided to take the watercolor paper and just collage on it. And so I am going back and forth with what pages, like what different types of paper I'm going to use to cover up that white paper. Eventually, I do settle on one of my Mystic Magic papers, and then I layered the old book page on top of that. Even though I did it backwards, I put the old book page down first, and then I had to peel it up a little bit to glue down my paper that I created. But that is that. I was trying to work with the colors in the rice paper, and so this rice paper is from an old Prima Marketing collection. I believe it's called Hello Pink Autumn, something like that. And I had purchased it, I think, from a Cherry on Top, scrapbook.com. A Cherry on Top, a Cherry on Top. I'm wondering if either one of them still has it, but it's basically, I've never used rice paper before, but I think it's specifically for decoupage. But I just kind of put it in my journal, kind of like how I would put a vellum page, and it's literally just a page. And generally, I don't do any sort of journaling or anything on top of these pages. They're just purely decorative. The most I'll probably do is like put a word, or in the case of this spread, I end up putting the date on a piece of white cardstock and then gluing that date on top of the rice paper. But for right now, I am just going back and forth working on this little collaged paper. How I'd like to do these is I like to fill up all the spaces, all the white stuff, right, on the page with different types of papers, and then I like to have something that is a focal point on the page. And so that's what I was struggling to find here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use a fairy girl. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use a piece from my Mystic Magic journaling printable. I just didn't know what I wanted the focal point to be. I have this little envelope where I have all of these images that I stamped out, and I'm just like, oh, I have the fairy girl in like a black and white because I have the stamp set for it. Maybe I want to put her there. And then I toyed around with the different bits that I've stamped and fussy cut, right? So this is just black ink stamp images. So they're black and white images, and I tend to use my black and white images a lot in this way, and I was trying to make something work. In the end, I end up using this, I think it's a sparrow type bird. It was from a Maggie Holmes stamp set, and I really just liked how it looked there. It kind of frames that other scrap piece of paper that I used to cover up that little white bit that I had between the two bigger pieces of paper. And so that is what I end up putting there. But I do go back and forth for a while trying to figure out what would work best there. I just wanted, honestly, I kind of wanted a girl, because what I ended up journaling for this spread was a story about a girl. And so I just continued the phrase, "there once was a girl." And I basically journaled like what I've been going through recently or lately or within this last couple of months, basically the whole year. But I did it in a third person just to kind of go with the flow of that opening sentence. And I am not going to share my journaling in this process only because it's personal, but that is what I end up journaling. I just glued down a piece of paper from a notebook, like it was just lined paper, and I glue it down on top of the book page that's behind the rice paper. And that's where I do my journaling. And so I really like having the little rice paper bit on top of that. I do this a lot in my journals where I have like vellum, like a vellum page, or I may have like a fabric tip in, or in this case, it is a rice paper. And I have my journaling on the other side, but when you look at the spread with the rice paper on top of like where the journaling is, you can't really see. And so it's like a really good way to have hidden journaling there, because even when you're flip throughing it, you can just take the 2 pages and just kind of flip that way. And so I really love that. But before I start fussing with my journaling spot, I am trying to figure out how to create that focal point in my little collage bit here. So I have an envelope where I have like different like word phrases and stuff that I cut from magazines, different magazines. And I pulled out these that I believe I cut them out from a Frankie magazine, because I think Frankie magazine has a section in the magazine, each issue, that is titled Everybody Has a Story. And so like that sentiment occurs, I think, in every magazine or almost every magazine. And so I pulled out those sentiments. One of them was Tell Me a Story, and the other one was Everybody Has a Story. And I kind of wanted to use that sort of as like my title, right? But of course, before I do that, I pull out my white Liquitex ink and I just add a bunch of splatters because I feel like that just helps tie in both pages. And once I let that dry completely, that is when I put my little title. And so I pulled out both thinking that I would just use one, but I've decided, since I had all that space in that section, to use both. So I layer Tell Me a Story first, and then underneath that is Everybody Has a Story. And then that sort of kind of segues in to my journaling, which of course is a story, right? It's a story of my life, really, in the third person, which is started from the phrase there once was. And so I think the phrase that I end up using, or like continuing that off, is there once was a girl. And so you see here, this is when I was trying to figure out what type of journaling spot to use. I really wanted to use one of my B6 papers that I shrunk down into a smaller size, but I really loved how the book page was peeking through the rice paper, and it really hurt me to cover all that up because it was just so pretty. And so I decided to use more of a off-white cream colored paper for my journaling spot because I felt like that blended better with the rice paper. And you can see here, this is where I am stamping my date on that same similar cream paper, and I am just trimming it down, so I just had like a little strip there that I'm going to tape onto the surface of that rice paper. And so that's the picture that you see at the end of this video, and this is where I am building up my little writing spot. And it's basically just a piece of paper from a notebook that I had, and I just glue it down, and this is where I write out my story. And so again, I'm not going to share the process of me actually journaling because it is very private, but I do take the time out to journal my little story. So before I start journaling, I forgot that I went in and I added a few of these yellow star stickers from one of the Lace and Whimsy sheets, and I just like how, again, that just accents the page. And yeah, that is basically the spread for day 6. I really hope you enjoyed watching this process, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!